Good morning, everybody. Good morning, YouTube. Welcome to another presentation of the Solid Sports Video Blog. This is episode 333. Today's date is June 24th, 2026. I'm Troy Westhead. Thank you for joining me this morning. Um, Try not to be so long-winded today. Sort of did a pop-up live. I was going to go live yesterday, but didn't really have the time yesterday. Uh, I probably should have went to work today, but I was off today, but I could have went in and got some extra time. I'm probably going to kick myself in the foot later, but just not feeling. Honestly, I'm not feeling like myself. I'm not feeling too well, so that's why I probably don't try to be too long today. Of course, we know the NBA draft was last night. I look back on that. The first round, the second round is tonight. But we're gonna look through the MLB standings, see how much things have changed over the last couple of weeks. And we'll talk a little NFL. I'm still doing my NFL roundabout series. This is the fourth week of that event. So we about halfway through. Green Bay Packers is my team for the day, but I'll do a video on them later. But I'll just talk about the NFC North. That's the division that we're covering this week. The Detroit Lions, Green Bay Packers, Chicago Bears. Shout out to my man Caper and um, the Minnesota Vikings. So I touch on that division, and then that'll be pretty much the show for today. But sorry, I announced this show kind of late, so wasn't going to go live tonight. I know usually I stream Wednesday nights, but I might not stream just tonight, to be honest. But if just keep your notifications on, I might do a quick live. But if not, I'll definitely try to go live Friday night. Um, but thank you guys for your patience. Like I said, be right at 500 subscribers. I know I ain't been announcing it as much because it can go down. We can go back under 500. So until we get a solid number like 505 or higher, um, I'll put together a little celebration um, stream or something for us. But I appreciate you guys for your patience. Like I said, hope you guys having a good week so far. Um, Unofficial or official start to summer started. So hopefully, depending on what kind of work you do, you take a little vacation this summer. Um, it's been a while since I took a vacation from anything. But all right, so that's where we stand. Let me get into everything. Of course, the draft was the biggest news. We'll talk about that in a second. But let's. I want to just go through the MLB standings real quick. Um, uh, like I said, we was on last Thursday. Not much has changed. Yankees still in first place in the East. Um, Thank you, Rolanda. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. I know you're not really into sports, so I appreciate your support being here this morning. Um, Yankees with a three-game lead over the Tampa Bay Rays. Everybody else in the division under 500: Toronto, Baltimore, Boston. I think I touched on the Red Sox last week. It's just a mess in Boston. I wonder what they're going to do in the future. But they're not looking good this year. They already fired um, the manager, Alex Cora, which I was shocked he's a World Series winning manager. So I think it was something deep going on. But I guess we'll find that out maybe later, maybe the end of the season. AL Central, Chicago White Sox, probably just one of the most surprising teams this season. Um, they in first place over the Cleveland Guardians as of now. And same with this division, everybody else under 500. Minnesota Twins, who I've been trying to be high on because I just thought they was the most veteran team in this division, but haven't put it together. But they only 4.5 games back despite being under 500. Uh, Detroit and Kansas City, um, the Tigers. Now I don't know what's going to go on with Tarek Struble. Is he going to be a a Tiger long term? Will he go somewhere else? Um, I think that's the story for the rest of the season for Detroit. And Kansas City, maybe just still a little too young. So is Detroit. But I like Bobby Witt Jr. He'll continue to get better, but I thought these two teams would be a little bit better so far this year, but they're at the bottom of this division. AL West, Seattle has now turned things around. They're in first place. Only team over 500, everybody else under, but bunched up. The A's right there, and the Texas Rangers 2.5. Houston's 3.5. But all three of those teams under 500, and the Angels sort of um, out of it, 8.5. Back in the division and in last place. National League, my Braves, man, we still in first place, but I'm getting nervous. Philadelphia Phillies, probably over the last, I want to say last month and a half, it's probably been the best team in baseball. I would imagine that they record probably rivals with anyone else. They'd be great. Miami and Washington hanging in there, over 500, but they 8 out still. Mets, another disappointed team, 14 back, 10 under 500. Um, a lot of big expectations for the Mets this year, but they fallen well short of it. Still, like I say, we still got basically a half a season to go. Um, so we'll see where they stand. Like I said, All Star break is in about what 3 weeks, 2 3 weeks away. So we'll see where they stand there. Central Milwaukee Brewers now has opened up a 6 game lead over the St. Louis Cardinals. Um, Cubs are hanging in there, 7.5. They 4 over 500. Pittsburgh is now dipped. Pittsburgh and Cincinnati now dipped under 500. It is sort of phased out of the division in the Central. And in the West, in the National League, Dodgers, again, quietly continue to just be dominant. Only team with 50 wins. 9.5 lead, nine game lead evenly over the San Diego Padres, Arizona Diamondbacks 10.5, San Francisco, Colorado, all basically 20 games. Well, Colorado is exactly 20 games out. San Francisco 18. So see them turning nothing around this season. So that's where they stand in baseball. No really other news than that. We're gonna move on to the NBA draft from last night. I watched it live. Um, last time you was over here, I talked about the Commanders, but if you go to my channel, look up my shorts. I got a video specifically about the Commanders. So if you want to hear me talk about the Commanders, go check that out. Um, they was a part of the Roundabout series about 2 weeks ago. So you want to hear about the Commanders, go to my short. It'll say watch the Commanders. You watch that video, and that's my thoughts on the Commanders. But we talk about the NFC North in a little bit. Um, the draft, NFL draft. No big surprises last night. Of course, the biggest news, the two biggest news other than the draft itself was Giannis, of course, finally getting traded. The Heat wins that sweepstakes and gets Giannis. He sent Bobby Portis also for a whole load of picks, and Tyler Hero was a part of the trade. Vasquez, so a big haul for Giannis. So now he's in Miami Heat. I didn't really touch it. I was going to do a short on it, just to get my initial thoughts. Now that it's been a couple of days, I think they better than they was with this trade because Giannis, if he's healthy, he's 30 or 12, easy. Bam, you see. I mean, I know the 80-point 3-point game, you could question it, but he still put up 83 points in the game. So his offense has improved. Eddie's a good defensive player. Bobby Portis as well. You can bring him off the bench or he can start. So front court, they great. They got what they need. They just need guards. Obviously, they don't have no guards. I heard them say they're gonna try to keep um I always forget his name from the Clippers. Norman Powell, they're gonna try to keep him. Um like I said, they have no draft picks now, so it ain't gonna be through the draft. So it's gonna be interesting what Miami do. Everybody anticipating uh that now you're going to get some maybe some veterans that sign there with the minimum just because they feel like they can win. I don't know about that. Miami has had issues with that the last couple of years. Giannis probably does change that, but we'll see. I would have to see it to believe it. Um, but that trade, like I said, I think Miami still falls short of the Knicks. Still falls short if Boston stay together. Is Jalen Brown, if he don't get moved and they bring that team back, they still don't go to be a formidable team. Um, uh, I like what Atlanta done, especially the draft last night. I like Charlotte. There's a lot of teams, in the East that, compare them to the West, yeah, but as far as with the East is wide open after, really pretty much after the Knicks. And, got to throw Detroit in there. But they go ahead to improve offensively for sure. Um, but I still think they're a tier below that. Um, Depends on what the guards they get, we'll see. But huge trade. Um, just to touch on the Jalen Brown thing for a quick second with Boston. Um, Now I don't think he's going to get traded immediately. Now it could be, maybe when free agency starts, maybe even closer to trading camp. Maybe Brown get traded during the deadline next year. Um, but of course, just me being a fan of it. Um, I think somebody said this morning on the sports show I watched. Like, if he don't want to be there, then it's gonna be a problem. But if he could brush this off, um, just focus on basketball, get back to work. The Boston Celtics will be good again with Tatum. They proven they can play together. It's just a shame. Um, Most of the time in the league, they always try to break two great players up. Um, Either the media, I don't want to blame the media because the players got to wear some of it, but it's gonna be depends. I think it is going to depend if he would want to be there or not. If he wants to be there, then he'll be there. I think Boston would just. I mean, if you like they said, if you look at it like this, if you had a chance to get Giannis, go for it. But I guess they like the Miami's package a little bit better. Um, and I think Milwaukee would have. I mean, Jalen Brown is young, but I think they would have stayed real young. I think that's why Milwaukee probably picked the Miami thing. I think they would have build. They really want to do a rebuild. Because Jalen Brown come there, then you got somewhat expectation. You expect at least compete. So I think Milwaukee sort of, in my opinion, they ducked that because whatever season it is, that's what it's going to be. It ain't going to be no expectations for the Bucks. So I think they keep that down, or they got a lot of draft picks now from Miami, so maybe they flip them and get maybe somebody out there. Um, Maybe they can still get Jalen Brown if that's who they want. They got the capital now, and Boston will take that. Um, I think so. But yeah, it still depends on if Jalen really want to be there or not. Um, if he wants to go, then yeah, I think they go ahead and let him go. Um, but I don't see him like causing an issue. He might say some things in the media here and there, but as far as like going to practice and though I don't see him being that type of player. So um, just something to keep an eye on this summer. Will he be moved? Will he be back this season? But either way, Boston is still going to be a decent team with a healthy Tatum. Um, so that's just two things that another domino that didn't fall yet, sort of on a lesser scale. The Ja Morant situation. I know a lot of issues with Ja Morant in Memphis. Um, I definitely don't think they're going to re up on him. I think he does. Uh, I think his contract is sort of on the back end. Um, the way they drafted last night, well, they get Cameron Boozer. We're going to talk about the draft. Um, They get Karen Boozer from Duke, a solid player. I think they drafted a guard. Um, so the way they drafted, I think they probably ready to move on. They got rid of Jared. I forgot that Jared Jackson was gone. He's in Utah with Darren Peterson. He went to AJ DeBosa went one to Washington. First, like I said, most of these, I mean, it was no big surprises. Pretty much what as expected to go. Only question was with Washington taking a chance on Peterson last night. Um, but they did. They go with the Bonza. Um, and the Wizards. And I know I ain't finished my point about Ja, but we'll see. I think he's gonna be hard to move because I think nobody ain't gonna want him for that price. I think they'd rather have Memphis. Like if he become a free agent, that's different. But as far as the trade capital for Ja, I think that's gonna be hard for Memphis to do. Um, Now the Wizards, they're gonna be an interesting team next year. Um, well, I thought Trey Young was trying. I thought Trey Young probably wanted to leave when he opted out, but he just signed a new deal, so he's going to be there. But he's a solid 20 and 10 guy. I mean, I know everybody complained about his size. He's been nicked up the last couple of years, but um, he's a solid. He's gonna he don't cheat you. He's gonna give you at least almost 20 and 10 assists. He's been the leader in assists over the last few years. So um, you got that sold up. I think it's going to, of course, come down to Anthony Davis. Is Anthony Davis going to be healthy for the majority of the season? Can Alex Starr take the next step? He was the number 2 pick last year. So, uh, but like I said, I've been watching the sports shows this morning. And the Jazz, like I said the Jazz was a good team. But I just think even though they're in the West, I think that's the only issue. I think they got a good solid team. I think Peterson definitely elevates them with marketing, and they got Jared Jackson. I forgot that's where he went. Um, so Utah got a good team, uh, but in the West, it's going to have to some I don't want to say injuries, but something going to have to happen for them to even to me even be a playing team. I think they'd be in that playing bracket. Um, but it's going to depend on what other teams do. OKC and the Spurs, they the top of the West right now. They in their own class. After that, and that's what people thinking. Maybe after that, because you don't know what the Lakers going to do. Is LeBron going to still be there? Will he retire? Luca, is that team good enough for Luca to lead it? Houston, I still think Kevin Durant, even though nobody talking about it, I still think he got a chance to be moved. Um, but even with him there, Houston hit that wall. So um, really don't believe. We'll see with Van Fleet. They didn't have Van Fleet last year, so that is a difference. So we'll see how Houston fares. Um, Minnesota also, they just get rid of Randall. That was another trade to Brooklyn. So now, I mean, I mean, the role players stepped up last year. McDaniels and the role players from Minnesota. Um, DiVincenzo, he ain't gonna be back. Um, Prior to he might miss all of that next year also. And the kid with the weird name, the guard. I think they just signed. They about to sign him. So Minnesota gonna be decent, but I still think not good enough um, to really get out the Western Conference. But I mean, the Western Conference deep. Um, uh, so we'll see what happens there. One of my favorite players got drafted seventh, Darius Acuff. He goes to Sacramento. Uh, I don't like it for him either, just because of the Kings' history. But you got Sabonis if he comes back, and then the way this kid plays, I think he'll make the Kings at least somewhat relevant. Um, Everybody thought Brooklyn was going to take him at 6, so that was sort of the only really surprise in the draft. But pretty much went chalk ways. Everybody went where you thought they would go. Few little small little trades. Um, People switching picks and things of that nature. Um, the Thunder, one of the picks, they take the big kid from Michigan, A. Day Moore. I think he's specifically for Wimby. I think that's what they drafted him for. I think they're gonna have Chet. Chet will be more of a three or a four. Chet not gonna play much center, so this kid can probably come play center. Will they still keep Hartenstein? So the Thunder just continue to get better. And they come back healthy. If Jay Will healthy next year, because he was pretty much out the whole year, OKC will be right there again. Spurs are going to get better, like Harper and those guys with another year under their belt. Like I said, it's the Spurs and the Thunder pretty much in the West, and everybody else. You'll see where they fall. But it was nice. I mean, it's always nice to see young people, these kids, bigger than life. Like I'm watching Caleb Wilson get interviewed right now. Went to the Bulls. Shout out to our man Caper. Um, I think the Bulls are trying to get young. Um, they get the kid from Texas, the guard, Swain. So I think the Bulls are trying to get young. Like I said, the East is wide open, baby. You can look up, get one of them playoff spots there. Like I was saying, Memphis took the guard from Iowa, the shooter. So, uh, yeah. So very interesting, but nothing real surprising. Happy last night. Round two. Um, I probably just keep an eye on it. I might not watch that live tonight. Well, I can anyway because I think it's on ESPN. So, um, but round two, um, you know, most of those players that basically you're lucky if you make the team. But we'll see. We'll see. We see some second round picks become great. Jokic is probably the most famous second round pick. So, uh, yeah. So it'll be interesting tonight. So round two of the NBA draft is tonight. Um, I think, uh, like I said, other than the A cuff falling to the Kings, I think everything else pretty much went uh according to plan. There was no big shocks or big surprises last night. So we'll see. I mean, like I said, off season starts in the first week of July. So you might see some more stuff here. You might see some trades tonight again. Um, Most of the teams they trade these second round picks because you know they're not as valuable as ones. So you might see a lot of moving around tonight in the draft order. So all right, I think that's pretty much it with the NBA. Like I said, no really nothing off the court to really talk about. Um, so we're gonna move on to the NFL. Uh, Roundabout series continues. NFC North. We did the AFC North last week. Next week we will go to the NFC South. So that's the Bucks, the Atlanta Falcons, who just signed Kyle Pitts. Congratulations to him. Got an extension. Carolina Panthers and um, New Orleans Saints. We'll talk about those four teams next week. But this week we focus on the North. Today specifically the Green Bay Packers. I'll do a video on them later. But just to talk about this division in whole, I think the two biggest storylines, well, the few biggest storylines, starting to become one. Minnesota, Kyler Murray and J.J. McCarthy, who will really start? We thought for sure to be Kyler, but what you hear now, J.J. grasps, which he's been there, so he should know the playbook a little bit better than Kyler at this point. But they said Kyler sort of having issues with that, and that was the gripe against him in Arizona. So we'll see how that develops. Other than that, Minnesota look like they ready to win now. So if they get any decent quarterback play, they'd be competitive. Um, Chicago Bears. Caleb Williams. Let's see if he take a step forward. On the Madden cover, I know. Shout out to my man Caper again. He's a Chicago fan. Um, low. What is it? The little mad curse that's been over the years. So hopefully they can get over that. But I like the Bears to win that division. If you ask me right now, unless something happen between now and the beginning of the season, the Lions. Like I said, I did the Lions yesterday. I just think they might have missed their window to win. Um, but at least in a lot of people's eyes. So maybe that might be a blessing because then the expectations are sort of tampered down a little bit. So maybe they can sneak in there. Jared Goff continue to do what he's done. Um, uh, we'll see what the Lions do this year, but they'll be a solid team. And Green Bay, um, like Jordan Love, like their young team, but I still think they need a little bit more. Micah, they already announced he's not going to be ready to start the season. He probably should come back mid-November. Mid October, excuse me. Um, the last report I saw, so um, that hurts them on the defensive side. Offensively, Jordan Love, he showed flashes. He's definitely improved, but he just had bad turnovers at certain times still to me. Um, so he got to clean that up. But the Packers will be a solid team. This is a solid division, sort of similar to the North, the AFC North. Um, but I like Chicago still. I like what Ben Johnson, the culture he got there. So I think the Bears are going to be better. They lost, like I said, the DJ Moore. I think that is a big hole for the receivers. So these young guys going to have to step up for Caleb. He's going to improve his completion percentage. I told my man Caper that. He was under 60%. That's not good. You got to get it closer to 65 at least. If he does that, they'd be better on offense for sure. Um, so that's the landscape of that division. Like I said, stay tuned later. I go more deeper into the Packers today. Um, so just look out for that. One of my shorts, and then tomorrow I'll finish off the division with the Minnesota Vikings. So thank you guys, and then we have a poll with that division up. Um, who you think will win it? So uh, that's pretty much what we stand there. Um, like I said, I don't think it's no NFL news, is it? Let me check real quick, but I don't think it's any. I touched on the Kyle Pitts thing. Uh, well, I think I touched on this last week. The Brandon Ayuk um, situation. I don't know how that's going to turn out. It doesn't look good though. It don't seem like he's going to be a Niner. But can they get something for him if they trade him? I don't know. He clearly wants to go to Washington. Speaking of the Commanders, here you go, Rolanda. If y'all get him and he's healthy, he'll definitely improve y'all team. But um, he's definitely upset. That's an understatement. Every other day, posted videos on his Instagram, um, pretty much disparaging the Niners. So um, doesn't look good. But we'll see how that situation turn out. Um, well, I don't want to say sad news, but the great Jim Kelly, quarterback of the Buffalo Bills, um, recently had a stroke, but he said he's doing good. He's been dealing with a lot of health issues, cancer, other health issues over the years, but he survived it all. He survived the stroke. My older sister had a stroke. It's no joke that I wasn't, no pun intended, but they really not. Um, so hopefully he's doing well. They say he's doing well. So um, shout out to him because he's been through a lot since he retired, health wise. Geno Smith with the Jets in a little bit of trouble. Um, so we'll see how that turns out. Um, for Gino and the Jets. So there's something to keep an eye on. Um, also, the kid Strausby from Texas Tech. They admitted to gambling and all that noise. Um, Try to get the NFL to do a supplemental draft. The NFL pretty much say no. So now Salisbury is just out there. Um, Cause I think did Texas Tech did he leave Texas? I know he don't. I know he's not going back to Texas Tech. I don't believe. Um, so he's pretty much at a stalemate. So we'll see how that story develops over the next few weeks as well. But they won't be doing a supplemental draft um, this year, so he has no chance. I'm getting drafted to the NFL that way. So um, yeah, so this is another story just to keep an eye on. Also, I just saw here Simmons, the defensive tackle for the Titans, he got a nice extension as well. So shout out to him. We'll see what the Titans do this year. We'll be talking about them soon in the next week or so. So, all right, that's pretty much all I had today. Like I said, I didn't want to be long anyway. Um, Ain't nobody coming in and start a conversation, so I'm about to go ahead and shut this down. Let's talk about the World Cup. Shout out to the USA soccer team. Made it to the round of 32. I think they play one more group game first before that. Um, but shout out to the USA. Maybe they got a shot to really do something this World Cup. So hopefully they do. Um, the USA is ready for it. We at home, so yeah. So hopefully they make a good run. At least get to the quarterfinals or the semis or something close, at least close to. I mean, well, maybe I should say that because then you'd be disappointed that they could have went to the final. So I hope so. I think it would make it give the country some good vibes. At least for a little while if they make a good run. Uh, Here we go. Yeah. WNBA. Like I said I would try to talk about it sometimes. Um, Angel Reese. I'm happy for Angel Reese. I don't know what happened in Chicago, but she's flourishing in Atlanta. Got them near the top of the standings. I think they're going to be a good playoff team this year. But you can't forget Vegas and New York. They all in that bunch. Dallas. Um, Fever hanging in there. 10-7. Golden State, the new team. 10-7 as well. Washington 8-7. So um, still no huge separation, but these some solid teams. So haven't watched a game this year. I've seen highlights, but I haven't watched a WBA game this year yet. Still, so. Um, but of course, Caitlin Clark still get talked about one way or the other if she have a good game, a bad game. So that's still going on. So, um, but still a lot of season to go. Um, I think they announced last week they expanded the game, so it'd be more games played next season. Um, so WNBA flourishes still. Um, so I try to keep an eye on it throughout the weeks. All right, so that's it for me today. I'm gonna go ahead and shut it down. Thank you, Rolanda, for hitting the like button and coming through. Like I said, if you want to hear about your commanders, um, go to this short I got up under my shorts. I already did a video on the Commanders. I'm doing the Packers today and the Minnesota Vikings tomorrow to finish up the North in the NFC. Um, as the roundabout series continues, and then next week the NFC South. So stay tuned for all that. Did have a big crowd today, but that's fine. Appreciate you guys so much. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. Um, Gonna try to do some YouTube work. Like I said, I will not be going live tonight. I'm already going to announce that. Not doing a Wednesday stream tonight. I try to do it Friday. Try to do a Friday stream this week. Um, but I'm trying to get back into rotation about doing the streams. But but if I do it, that's why I put your notifications. I might change my mind, but for right now, I don't think I'm going to be streaming tonight. So um, if not, like I said, I'm gonna definitely try Friday night the stream. So um, all right, so that's it, guys. Thank you guys so much for your support. Like I said, we right at 500. We want to get that number up, so I can feel comfortable celebrating. And I really haven't celebrated it yet. And I still gotta get my watch hours so to get monetized. So still some work to do, but at least we reached our goal finally. So I appreciate you guys for that. So that's it, guys. I'm out of here. Peace and love. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all week. Um, like I said, I might see you guys tonight, but I really doubt it. But definitely try to work on Friday. You can just keep checking out my channel for other little videos, video game playthroughs, video game videos. I just put up a Call of Duty video this morning. Um, Got to do some more marathon. And Hades 2 is probably my newest project. I got some other stuff in the works as well. So stay tuned for that. And I appreciate you guys for supporting. And thank you guys. This was episode 333 of the Solid Sports Video Blog. I'm Troy West. Said thank you so much for watching. I see you guys next week. I don't know what my schedule is next week, but I'll try to do a show next week. We'll talk more, if NBA stuff come out, more NFL, and of course Major League Baseball. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Troy West. Thank you guys. Peace and love. Have a great week.